How's it going, everybody? Damian G here, along with Two Chains in a special edition of Big Gold Belt Sports. Find us at BGB Group on Twitter, BigGoldBeltMedia.com. Myself at Damian G347. And for those who know us pretty well, know that we have a special relationship with Battle Club Pro. They are one of my favorite, if not my favorite, independent wrestling promotion on the planet, and I wish I was there with them every show that they run. But unfortunately, due to COVID-19 and all the stay homes that most of us are actually abiding by, tonight's event, Women Crush Wednesday 2, was unfortunately postponed. Notice I said postponed. We didn't say canceled, postponed. So in lieu of that, why not have the owner, one of the owners of Battle Club Pro, as well as the man who swears he doesn't do interviews the last time I interviewed him, and the man who swore he doesn't have fans last time I talked to him on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, so without further ado, I'd like to welcome Joakim Morales and Jocay to the show. Fellas, what's good?
Yeah, it was good, man.
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for having us on.
So
I have to say really quick, it's weird because when you refer to Battle Club Pro as a promotion, some reason that this doesn't sit right with me because S is a business, S is a promotion, but every time I'm in that building, it is, as I like to call, a cookout because it's a family affair. It's a good time and it's just going down. It's entertainment. Everyone's coming together. It's the collective that you want every single time. So that's why it's super special that I wanted to make sure that we did this tonight because I was dumbass excited to go to Women Crush Wednesday 2. Last year was the absolute start for Mania weekend. The best match of that weekend came from the first promotion of the show. That didn't even you would think that people were like, all right, well, we got to beat that. And yet nothing beat that Diamante and Tasha Steelz match that everyone talked about throughout the entire weekend. So I knew when Women's Crush Wednesday 2 was announced, and I seen the names now. I was like, yo, this is a must. I don't care where in the world or how in the world, whatever I got to do, I will be there regardless. And obviously, because of things out of our control, it is postponed. So I'm like, look, it was so much energy that was going to happen on this day. We got to still come together and be able to talk about things, put some positivity out there, and maybe we may be able to get some information about other plans and things that may come in the future. But this is a must that had to happen, and although it was postponed, I still think it's important that same energy is channeled for everybody who else was looking forward to it.
So, fellas, just give the fans, give the listeners a quick, how you doing?
Go ahead, Paul.
How's everybody?
We're gonna make you talk. I'm sorry. We're gonna make you talk.
Dude, yeah, you're gonna have to talk.
How's everyone? Hope everyone is home safe and sound. I don't know. Joe?
He's being him. He's a lot more talkative on the car rides. I'll say that. He's a lot more talkative on the car rides.
Maybe
what's up,
we
guys?
need to get him off camera.
Do it off camera? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, we're good.
Joe,
Yeah,
how
hey.
are you?
Good.
I'm hanging in there. It's kind of rough. I'm fortunate to still be employed and not have to be out and about. That's a blessing, I guess, in a disguise. Even though you get stir crazy because you got to stay in the house, stay in. I don't know. This is what am I talking about? It's a big gold belt. So yeah, the saying is fuck COVID, stay in. Fuck Corona, stay inside. You got to stay home. So there's not much we could do with the situation at hand except just tough it out, stay home, stay safe, keep your loved ones close to the vest, check in on them if they're not close by, and limit the chance that you come in contact with that fucking disgusting virus.
I couldn't have put it better to call it a fucking disgusting virus because
fucking disgusting virus.
Yeah, it just came out of nowhere, and look, it's still fucking here, and unfortunately, a lot of us have been affected, one way or another, and away from wrestling, just all of us personally have been just trying to make it out alive. We go our whole lives with people saying, make it out alive. No one's getting out alive when it comes to society and life, and here we are, still fucking trying, even though it's frustrating. And to be quite honest, I was telling people off air, for those listening, I was supposed to be in New York long before this. I was actually supposed to take a job in January back in New York. And for whatever reason, that fell through. And I'm just envisioning, had I been there, just imagine, what I was telling everybody off air, my parents freaking out over every little thing and just me having to be a part of that. Blessing and a curse all at the same time. So just to echo what Joakim said, keep your loved ones close. Even the ones that you don't really like, at least send them a text. If you don't like them that much, send them a DM. And if it goes to the general message board, then you did your part. But just don't forget about anybody, and don't die. Just that's the best.
Don't die.
Don't die. Even though I will say this much, today was 92 degrees in fucking Dallas, Texas, and people were distancing, but you could tell they were out. There was some people sunbathing. There were people just like, see, that face Joakim just made? That's exactly the face I made today. There were literally people in the playground sunbathing, even though they were far away from each other. Still, motherfuckers don't listen.
They don't. If you're being responsible and anyone tries to fucking shame you for being responsible, that's the type of person you don't need in your fucking life.
No.
Straight up. If they're like, oh no, it's nice outside, he kills it. Like, that's not fucking true. Africa, Australia, like everywhere, warm places are still being fucking ravaged by this thing. So that's one. Two, I get it. You want to be outside, and it's hard to stay cooped up in the house. If you're being safe about it, I mean, like, totally safe about it. Like, wherever it is you're going, it's sanitary, and you've got the proper, what we call in the workforce, PPE, protective equipment. I guess it's okay. But if you're out there sunbathing, if you're out there being, I'm not going to be remorseful here. One of those idiots who decided to still do spring break in Florida, like, there can be no sympathy if something happens to you. Because you're being irresponsible. Because if you are asymptomatic, you go home and you go say hi to grandma or granddad or mom, or your little 11-year-old nephew who's got asthma and they get sick and croak. Like, it's your fucking fault.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if you're being 110% safe, that's one thing. But if you're just like, I'm tired of staying in the house, fuck it, and you're gonna be irresponsible, whatever happens to you, you deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just they're one of those, like, if it doesn't affect me personally, then I don't care, and that's just pure ignorance at its utmost.
Well, here's the thing. I've realized that people sometimes make really stupid decisions because they're people, they're human, and not to be all Dr. Phil about it. Just I know that people are gonna fuck up a lot, and they're going to pay the price, like Joakim said, one way or another. They want to be reckless and, spread the disease or spread the germs. That's on them. But we can't expect other people to act like we would. So all we can do is just kind of do our own shit and not have to worry about anyone else if we got our side of the street taken care of.
The real question I want to know is that when are we going to dig deep into them pockets and purchase that island just so you can run shows during this?
What are we, Dana White?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Battle Club Island.
Listen, hold on now. And I'm gonna say this. I don't know if any other promoter said this. I haven't really been on social media for the last few weeks. If a home testing kit becomes available, I will splurge and make sure the talent's all clean, and I'd have the event with no fans.
Okay.
I absolutely, if I was able to have everyone in the clear, and I was able to get the venue, I would do it. Absolutely.
What, that brings up a good question. How do you think the athletic commission? You guys do have an athletic commission in New York, right?
We do.
Okay, and how do you see like governance kind of changing because of this happening now, or has there been already conversations about it?
The commission. I mean, I don't fucking know. I don't know anyone from the commission specifically. They're always going to have their bullshit rules and regulations because they don't understand the business for what it is. So there's some things I agree with. Like, I really do think there should be an ambulance and doctor on site. I do. You should try to protect the crowd. You should. The licensing issue is a clusterfuck because what they're asking for yearly is just an unnecessary exponential cost. I don't know. I mean, and I'm obviously the money goes into their pockets. What I would say is, if they're gonna be pricks about, you know, shows and get-togethers and whatnot, once we're in the clear, I'll slide a fan about $20 and say, hey, go cough on that guy for a couple of times, you know, until he decides to fucking leave.
And I just thought about that too. That means not only are you paying attention to New York, but also you're paying attention to New Jersey as well. See if there's any differences within policies.
Jersey's got no commission, and I think it'll stay that way. I don't think anything will actually change that.
Oh, okay.
I think what it is in New York is just what it is with all fucking sports. Like, the New York government has to get its dime.
Yeah.
So it's whatever, man. Like, if you know me, I really just want to keep running in New York. I really want to get back to the Bronx. Brooklyn is the new home. But, you know, if I have to resort to going to Jersey, that's fine. I just and it's just no offense to anyone else that runs there or that building in general. I don't want to run that fucking building anymore.
Yeah.
I don't. Like,
Is it
that
because
building
of Zumba?
is, well, no. I've got nothing against anyone that likes Zumba. The
We've had some
problem
good
is
moments in that building.
Yeah. The problem is that building is like a doorknob, and everybody gets a turn. And I think one of the biggest things that sets any company apart is a unique feel. And there's only so much you can do to be unique. So, you know, like I did at one for all. I got lighting. I still put up the danger tape, and now everyone who runs that building wants lighting, like the same lighting guy. So it's like, you try to be unique, but then everybody's doing it. So it's tough. But I know if I run a show in my courtyard, no one else is doing that. I know if I run a show in the Bed-Stuy Dome, no one else is doing that.
Right.
So the whole thing is about remaining unique. Like, what is it that we can do to be different from other people? I really don't want to go back to Jersey. I don't.
Yeah.
Like, New York's home.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, I can attest when I went out to Jersey for the last show, just, you know, flying in from Dallas, getting 2 hours of sleep, then trudging
like
out to
Zumba.
Jersey. Fuck Zumba. All right? Those quinceañeras, Zumba. You know, unless they're gonna share their food, nah.
Right. Like, they should have shared the food.
What were you gonna say,
And
Paul? The people who went to Zumba should have just stayed and got discounted tickets to go to the show. Like, share the wealth. Yeah, senior discount. That was fine.
Yeah, exactly.
They damn sure floated around like they were going to the other show. They were there for another chill hour
Right.
until afterwards.
So,
Right.
what's this?
I
Is
was
this
like,
wrestling?
y'all need to go.
Yeah.
Y'all need to go.
I'll tell you what, that goddamn ring got up in no time.
Word.
Yo, oh my! So I mean, obviously, have to thank, you know, the wrestlers. Have to thank the people who work for Pro Wrestling Magic that helped. Have to thank fucking Jabber Tears podcast. They came through with a bunch of volunteers. Obviously, my crew, the ownership team, like we worked really hard. Like we were supposed to. That building promised us a 9 o'clock setup, and of course, that's not what the fuck happened. We didn't get to set up till 11:45 with the showtime of 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think those was like 12.
Yeah, and the ring got up, and the pre-match started at 2:30. So we were 30 minutes late with almost 3 hours cut from our setup time. So I'm super appreciative of all the help we got there.
With that being said, you don't want to run there anymore.
I don't. Like I've run. I had the conversation with the guy who books the venue out, and I was like, "Yo, this is the 3rd time in a row you've double booked the venue."
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
What the fuck? Yes, he double booked 3 times in a row for Battle Club. Just Battle Club, he double booked, and then he double booked once when I was running Innovative, 4 different times.
Wow.
Now I didn't mention Innovative because I got him to cut me a discount when he double booked for Innovative. So I stayed quiet about that. But he double booked 3 times for Battle Club. Like, what the fuck, bro?
I got a question for Jocay real quick. So when all this is happening, and God knows people were all in your DMs and emails trying to get you down there for bookings and stuff like that, do you get the same level of respect as the talent get when it comes down to like cancellations and stuff like that? Or are you just like, hey, I'm on Twitter, like, oh, okay, I guess that's canceled now. Like, how does that work with you?
No, normally I get told in advance if something gets canceled.
Okay.
Although
good.
One time I found out the day before.
Yeah.
It was like the day before the show, and he said, "Oh yeah, license issue, something, canceled." And like one of the photographers hit me, was like, yeah, "I guess I'm not bringing you a monster tomorrow." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And they were like, "Yeah, the show's canceled." I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, I could just imagine it. I don't know. The one thing I was gonna say, and I wait till he gets back, but like just hearing and talking to different people in the business and stuff like that, nothing is worse than a bad promoter. So when you have a good promoter and you see how it's done, and they set the bar, and everything else falls under that, you're just like, we're all adults here. We should be handling things like adults. Little simple emails and texts can do people a lot of justice,
Wait a minute, but you're talking about wrestling promoters trying to be decent. Like that's few and far between, brother. You know this by now.
That's me.
Hey, but look, here's the thing. There are some.
Yes,
there definitely are some. Yeah, definitely one for sure.
It's me. It's Gator. I haven't heard anything bad about Colin West. Sebastian Suave.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd you say?
No.
I heard someone else say Michael. Colin's cool. Yeah, he is cool. Who else?
And this
Steve Off's always been good to me, but I'm not speaking in terms of talent.
Right.
So the guys at Magic have always been really good to me.
Yeah, I definitely can vouch and say the people that run the promotion in my area is definitely handle everybody with the utmost respect, whether it's Flying V, Prime Time, just everybody that's running this area is definitely doing that. But then again, every once in a while you hear those nightmare stories creeping out about people being misdone, and God knows when Mania weekend went down, some of those things started going out. But it's weird because like last year, it was a garbage fire on Twitter if anybody did anything. But because everything just went down this year, everyone just, I guess, took their L's and just was like, it is what it is. But yeah, there definitely was some people that just didn't have any clue of like their shows were going to go on or not. And then not to mention the whole thing with WrestleCon that, that kind of left people in this like purgatory area if it's going to go down or not. With that being said, too, at what point did you make the determination if you were going to run or not, especially since you were running in a different atmosphere or state, so to say?
Um, the conversation came up a week earlier from my partner Ray. And I spoke to him. I said, right now, I'm going to hold off until the government tells me something different. And then a week later, I was like, shit, this seems to be getting serious. And I was literally typing out the formal proposal I sent to the talent and sponsors and whatnot. Like, I was typing it out when I heard on ESPN radio that the NBA shut itself down. And I was like, okay, obviously I'm doing the right thing. So after the NBA made the thing, like, I finished typing it up and I started sending it to talent. It was just like in my gut, I was like, I think this is the right way to go. And then literally, the Knicks were playing. I tend to listen to the Knicks. You know, it's easier to listen than watch. But yeah. So I was literally in the middle of writing the formal proposal, and I had done a bunch of redrafts, and like right in the middle of doing that, the NBA was like, "Oh, so the NBA is shutting down." And I was like, "Okay, this is clearly the right move." Yeah. Mark Adam Haggerty, like, when I hit him up, you know, he understood, and then the next day he was like, "Yeah, so you're like the first one to do it. Let's see what happens." And then a week later, he's like, "Yeah, see, I told you, like, everyone else is doing it now. You were the first one, though. You were the first one in the area to do it." So,
hooray for foresight!
Right, like, you know, and then again, give props to my partner Ray Red. He brought it up. I was, you know, I was aware, but I was fighting back. My main concern was work and the people I work with, and, you know, whatnot, the kids. But I thought the show would be totally fine. I had actually asked that prior week. I asked all the wrestlers. I had asked, you know, the ladies, "Are you comfortable? Like, if we're gonna still go forward with the show, you comfortable?" And they all gave me a resounding yes. They all gave me a yes. You know, one or two gave me a bit of a reservation. They're like, "I'm comfortable for right now, but if things get worse, I might pull out." But, you know, I ended up having to postpone until a further date before they had that opportunity.
All right, I asked a hard question, which is really not the hard question. And this is a question for everybody. On that really tremendous roster that was put together for the show, goddamn.
Man, listen.
Goddamn. What was the signing that you guys were most excited for, period, for it? Regardless of the match. The person you was happy to be in the building.
I mean, you want to go first, Paul?
I'm trying to figure out which one was the most, because, like, I was happy to see everybody, to be honest.
I knew he was going to say that. I'm happy to see everybody.
But the thing is, like, Battle Club is one of those places where it's not just, okay, I'm going to go work and do this and that. It's like, I'm going home, and everyone I see is family. So it's always good to see everybody, from Joe to Red to Sabs to the wrestlers to production, everybody, you know. So, like, it was one of those moments where it's like, I'm happy to see everyone. But I know match-wise, I was happy to see, well, we were going to see Tasha Diamante, and then Layla and Kylie. But,
yeah, that was the one I actually was looking forward to the most, in terms of just, wow, that sounds really good on paper. Was Layla?
Yeah, it does. There was a bit of an issue regarding that match.
Can you share anything about that?
I can. I announced the match, you know, weeks before, you know, any really big Mania announcements, and someone hit me up. There's like, "Hey, so Beyond is doing one of your feature matches," and I was like, "What?" And it's like, "Yeah, they're doing Kylie versus Layla," and I was like, "What the fuck?" So I spoke to them. You know, we cleared the air. It was just literally like one of those situations where everything was set up almost exactly at the same time, and because, you know, myself and Drew aren't in constant communications, it just kind of happened. So he was like, you know, I wasn't aware, and I was like, all right, you know, I think more people brought as a bigger issue. At first, I was like, what the fuck? But I had the conversation with Drew, and it is what it is. It is what it is. What the talent I was most looking forward to was Trish Adora. I just in my gut, I just know she's gonna. It like I sat and when I thought where I could place her, when I sat and I thought about that, I had the same feeling I got when I first booked Harlow. She was gonna walk into a Battle Club match.
You brought her name up,
and everyone was gonna fall in love with her. Everyone was gonna fall in love with her.
Definitely thankful to be able to see Trish. Well, you know, before all this happened, regularly in the area.
Okay.
Man, it's funny you bring up Harlow. I'll bring her up in a second, but yeah, Trish is definitely special. That's.
I hadn't seen her, so I take everybody's word.
So you guys know how I am. So there was matches announced, and then obviously I have surprises up my sleeves. There were some of the surprises that like I'm not gonna say because this show's gonna happen. It's just not now. I mean, you know, like Paul, he was streamlined about it. He said everybody. Like I did want to see everybody on the card, but like people I was genuinely excited for was a talent you brought to my attention, Damien, was Christy Janes. Like I really thought her athleticism and her agility and her ability to fly was gonna pop because like good lucha is something the New York area doesn't get.
No.
I'll say this really quick. Hopefully that surprise has something to do with Harlow because not seeing Harlow's name on a card, it's easy to recognize that. Knowing her and following her on social media and stuff like that. No, she's taking a little hiatus, but I know how much Battle Club means to her. So I know there has to be some type of static there, possibilities, but we'll just leave that it is. Much love to Harlow. She's one of the best doing it. And you know, when
your connections,
all this come full circle, hopefully to see her. I'm cutting out.
Well, we're here, so if he cuts out, we can still keep talking.
I know we can continue, but he was like, bleh, 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 bleh. Like you broke up the whole time, dude.
Am I okay now?
Yeah, you're fine on my end.
Yeah, you're okay now.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you know, regardless, I don't know what part I cut off at, but regardless, I know that Battle Club is home to Harlow, and I know, you know, taking a little hiatus, and whenever it all gets back in the norm, I would imagine that there's got to be that itch of not seeing gold around her waist. I know that must mean something to her, but we'll see. But I will say, just to, you know, take a little bit of attention off of that, no matter whatever she decides.
What the hell?
So, I'm cutting out again.
Yo,
so I need to ask a question.
Like, yeah, it's bad.
So it might be you,
I don't
Joe,
hear Damien.
I hear him fine. So I have a question.
It's me.
Joakim. Wow. Everyone's like, "Is it me? Is it me?"
Hold on, Damien. Am I cutting out? Did you hear me? Okay, good.
I heard you fine.
Oh, okay.
What did he say? Because I was losing him. Hold on.
He was basically saying he knows.
I lost.
Harlow is you know Battle Club.
He's pulling my tie a little bit. That's all that is.
Yeah, he's talking about Harlow and like how she was integral to Battle Club, et cetera, et cetera.
But I will say this really quick, and then you guys can have it. Seeing Zoe Sky name announced was a big one for me. Huge fan of her, in ring and out of ring. So anytime we can, get her on the East Coast is always a plus for me. So I was excited for that, and obviously Laney Luck because she's just been getting better. I seen her when she was green as all day to now she's just one of the best out there doing it. So it was definitely a lot of names. I was like, yes.
So
I totally lost everybody there. I'm sorry. I totally lost everybody there. Yes, Harlow always has a home at Battle Club. That was the last thing I heard. And then you were going on about a talent being super awesome. Who was that talent? Was it Harlow?
No, I said Zoe Sky.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
feel like Jokim's on a 20-second delay, so we could literally.
I am. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So
it's all good.
So 2 questions, and it's been racking my brain. I never asked you this, and both of you can give your response. First off, what did we think about the venue in Connecticut? One, remember that old venue in Connecticut?
Mm-hmm.
I know Joe remembers. I know Joakim remembers. I know Jocay remembers. And number 2, we're not talking about that part. I love that venue. Is that some place that you guys can see yourself running again?
I would love to run there again. Carlos actually brokered that deal. I don't think the theater did enough on their end to promote locally. Mm-hmm. So they didn't get the turnout they wanted. But I would I'd go back in a heartbeat.
Okay. And I guess the second question is last year's Women Crush 1, how did you get all the Brits?
Everybody was in town for Mania Week, so it was pretty easy. It was as simple as, hey, I don't need a flight. I'm going to be here. Just, we negotiated what terms they wanted. Yeah, so that's how it was possible. And we see how well it turned out for one specific talent who decided to be in the tri-state area.
Jocay, have you forgiven me?
Of course.
Even though Joakim says no.
What am I missing out on here?
Damien almost chopped off Paul's GIF finger.
I will say, as a positive of that day, as a positive, with the fact that you didn't die and lose a finger, that's a positive. Number 2, and I owe you both a debt of gratitude. I have never been more appreciative of beginning to end of a wrestling show than that day, because it was my first time setting up with y'all. It was my first time working almost in every single facet other than talent, in-ring talent. And just by the end of it, I can see how a wrestling hangover is real, because we were exhausted by the time we took that ring back to Carlos's, and it was like 4:00 in the morning. I was beat. And I had to get up 2 hours later and jump on a plane to go cover Making Towns Classic in Tennessee. So that was exhausting, but hilariously fun all in and of itself. So I am grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah, that show was really fun. Davian got over as fuck.
She did. She
got so over. I tell her every time I see her, like, I have no idea how she had a hole in her face and still executed a beautiful fisherman's suplex. She won the match, went to the hospital, got stitched up, came back, and I started a buy her shit chant, and it worked. Like, everyone who was in attendance went and bought her shit. It was so great.
Well, the funny thing about that was that she kept saying she was fine. She's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
I have a hole in my head, but
I'm good.
Oh man, but that was a good show. And well, I haven't been to one bad Battle Club show, and that's not me being a homer. That's me being, authentic and saying I wouldn't fly all the way from Dallas back to New York to go to a shindy. So, because we've all been there.
Appreciate that, man. I appreciate that.
Jocay's worked a few that I've been in attendance of, and we're just like, so this is it, huh? 5 people, great.
At least I never worked the Elks Lodge.
You didn't. That's right. You have never worked the Elks Lodge.
No.
You've been there you've been there though.
Well,
We all have.
Yeah, that one of the last. Oh, you see that last show we went to up in that building.
Hey,
Fucking
how long
what
is
was
it?
it? 10-minute
How
kayfabe.
long is? Yeah, exactly. How long is this interview going to be? A kayfabe 10 minutes?
Is it gonna take an hour or is it gonna be an hour, but it's actually 30 minutes? Like,
I was wondering where that phrase came from. Kayfabe 10 minutes.
oh,
So
oh
for my limited experience of promoting and booking, how the hell do you still put out an amazing card when we know that that card is nowhere near the original plan?
Truth.
It's honestly been like just the Battle Club motif. Like ever since Carlos was in charge, like Plan B has always been what we went to. For the last show we did, I think we went up to letter W. Like we had so many changes. I literally like, with the exception of the champions and Gage and Havoc, like everyone had been rotated in either a match or out of the roster and back in. Like it was a clusterfuck. It was crazy, man.
Some of the car rides that we have, there'll be moments where like, okay, it'll be like, I have this person booked. Then it's scenario 1. Then, oh, what about scenario 2? Then 3, then 4, then 5, and it's like, like you can put them with anybody in the roster at this point. The whole roster is just match 1 this person, match 2 this person.
Yeah,
it's like 5 plans for each person.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. It's weird because it's stressful, but it's one of my favorite parts. Like, okay, this fell through. What else can I do? Like, how else can I? You know, I don't know. I like the backup plans seem to work. Like my favorite backup plan was, so originally, and I mean I hope Graham and Luke don't hate me for it, but the thought was out there that it would be the Diamond Dogs versus LAX. And that was a match I was kind of dead set on for a while. And when the theme of Anything You Can Do came up, I was like, shit, I can't do the Diamond Dogs against LAX, so who can I put against the Diamond Dogs? And the Diamond Dogs ended up, unfortunately not making the cut, and it sucked. But then, like, it all came around, and I was like, well, the Sea Stars. The Sea Stars are, they're going to be the ones to face LAX. And that was just incredible. Like, that moment, that match, that whole thing was beautiful. That was my favorite, like, shit's got to change on the fly. And it ended up being just priceless.
That was a beautiful match. There were people crying, people were dancing, just a whole ball of emotion, of just appreciation, I can say, for that match. That was something else, man.
Yeah.
There definitely was an abundance of energy in the building that day.
And then all the flags too. I loved all the flags. That was cool.
Yeah, that was
like you said, it was a block party.
It was a block party. It was a cookout. I knew, like, once the match was set, I knew I wanted to do something where I could represent at least a certain amount of the talent that was of Latino ethnicity. I was asking people on the card, what's your ethnicity, like, what do you represent? So I got 8 different flags, and it was great to see, like, again, and that was something that was on the fly, because, like, I bought the flags, but I didn't know how the hell I was going to go about it. And then as the show's going on, I hit an intermission. I go up to Tasha, I go up to Diamante. I'm like, hey, I need you for the entrance. This is all you got to do. And they worked it out, and it was great, to have Tasha there, our champion. Diamante is our number 1 contender. Shotzi was out there. She's on NXT. Ariel's out there. She's on AEW. Santana and Ortiz are in AEW. Like, Jordan Grace is current Impact champion. She was on the show. Just that, we had Monster Mac as a special guest referee, I have to thank Paul for that, because, like, I was trying to figure out who it was, and he literally is like, "Yo, Mac wants in. Like, I think he would work there." So like that fucking moment, the entrance, the dancing. If you listen real closely to the match, Ortiz tells Santana, he's like, "Hey, hey, hey," and Santana's like, "What?" Like, we got the pop. Let's get out of here. We don't have to wrestle.
That their communication, that whole match was hilarious. If you were in the crowd listening to it, it was so fucking hilarious.
He does the tiger style. And Mac's like, "Hey, you can't do that." He goes, "Oh, I forgot. You can wrestle." And he starts wrestling clean again.
Are there any other moments like that stand out in other promotions? I mean, I guess other shows you've run where like you've had that upsell internally of this is bigger than wrestling almost?
The beginning.
I got one for you. I got one instantly for you. And you probably even think about this. Yeah.
Go ahead.
When you had to kick the dude out in the middle of the show. Yeah. Because he was like, "Nah, fuck that. Give me the mic." I was like, uh-oh. And at that moment,
what show was this?
This was
Unfinished Business.
Yeah. Yep. Somebody came out the mouth wrong with a slur, and it wasn't going to slide. And thus the show had to stop, and so did the time of day. And that's when I'm all like, see, somebody else, I could see somebody else like, just, it is what it is, let the show go. No, hell with that. This is my show, and I'm stopping this now, and this person's got to go, because I'm not gonna, it offends me, my family, my crowd, everybody that's here. I was like, yo, so much respect to this man right here. That's when I was like, this is bigger than wrestling right here. Easily.
And it's weird because I'm gonna go through the following day. So that happened. Mm-hmm. It literally is like I'm at commentary. They bring the belts over. It was the championship match and the main event for Unfinished Business. And I literally, like, I'm getting ready to sit to do commentary, and I hear Mark Adam Haggerty goes, "Fuck you, dude." And I said, "Whoa, what the fuck?" And like the crowd, they didn't expect that. Mark is as professional as it gets, so it doesn't happen that he just stops the show in the middle to curse somebody out. So he came, what he does is he'll put the mic on the commentary table and sit behind commentary to watch and go from there.
Right.
So he's on his way, and I meet him, and I'm like, "What happened?" He goes, "I don't want to say." It's like, "No, you're gonna tell me what happened." And he goes, "There's some fucking dude over there said a homophobic slur." It's like, "Who?" And he pointed him out. I told him, I was like, "Get out. There's two ways to get out. Like you could leave. You can have the cops escort you or go, or I can kick you out. But I have a permit to be here. You don't, so you got to go." And it wasn't even like. Obviously, I didn't do it for any reason besides it was wrong to do.
Right.
And Ashley and Layla, they're pretty they're pretty open about their relationship on social media, and they were like cheering me on as I was walking back. But my thing is, like, that's my roster. It's not just the principal. Like, this roster is my family,
right.
And you can't sit there and offend my family and get away with it. I'm not going to let that happen. My ring announcer, my commentary team, like, there's just up and down the board, there's representation. It's not just culturally, it's not sexual orientation. Like, I try, every time I do a show, I try to incorporate what it is I know. And I know, people who have been oppressed and held down and discriminated against for whatever reason. So I try to bring that together in every show. And it's just like, I had the conversation with the guy the next day. He hit me up. He's like, "Hey man, like, I messed up, but I want you to know." And he played his case. And I said to him, I was like, "I get what you were saying wasn't necessarily." So the confusion was that he had said, he called Anthony Bowens a dick chaser,
mm-hmm.
right? And
he said to DC,
Anthony, right? So Anthony Bowens is openly gay and whatever. He said it to DC. He said DC. He said, what I said was DC stands for Dick Chaser. I was like, well, what Mark heard was you saying Dick Chaser in the direction of Anthony Bowens. I was like, he's like, no. I said it's DC, and I was like, okay, well, let's pause right here. Forget about the atmosphere. Forget about the moment. You're using the fact that someone would be a Dick Chaser as a derogatory comment. You're saying that this person's sexuality is something that I can use to defame someone else. And I was like, that's wrong. Like, if you said DC stands for douche cookie, no one's going to say anything. But the fact that you try to use homosexuality as a slur to someone who's not homosexual is the problem. And I tried to take that moment and tell him, like, you can't, if someone said, hey, Anthony Bowens, you look like a spick, that's wrong, because you're sitting there and you're saying, being a Spanish person, a wetback, or whatever the case you want to call it, and using that to someone else to hurt someone else's feelings. Like, you can't use someone's designed lifestyle, whether they choose it, whether they're born that way, to hurt someone else's feelings because you're saying that lifestyle is inferior.
Right.
There's 5 billion other things you could have said. 5 billion other things you could have said, but the fact that you said those 2 words was the problem. So even if you didn't say it to Bowens, you said it out loud at a very inclusive and a very welcoming and a very pro-LGBTQ community wrestling organization. So you were in the wrong. And I told him, look, I spoke to the roster. I was like, look, no one wants you to be banned. You want to come to the shows, it's okay. I'm not banning you, but you got to be appropriate. You got to watch what you say. You can't think it's okay to do those kind of things. And he had an understanding, and from what I understood, he was supposed to come to the September show, but he didn't. But yeah, like I tried to take that moment to teach him, like, it's not impossible to talk shit. There's so many combinations of words that you can say to just be to heckle somebody. But you can't use someone's lifestyle against someone else. It's just not right.
And also too, big kudos to the idea and approach you're saying to teach here, because some people take platforms to bash people for being wrong, which nothing positive comes out of that. But also the big thing too is that, while you teach him, he was there with his kids, if I'm not mistaken. So you teach him, which also sets an example for them. So it's the teaching that keeps giving, because now he's going to say, hey, if my kids tend to pick up on this, a mistake that I've done, everyone wants their kids to be better than them. He's going to say, hey, you can't do that. I was wrong for doing this. I know I'm wrong for doing this. You can't do that. You done help 2 generations easily with a small conversation example. By all means, that's why I was like, yo, it's bigger than wrestling here, easily. And everyone else, because they saw, what you did, everyone else was like on alert. Yeah. Because now you all know now. If you didn't know, you don't do that. You don't do that.
Right. To answer Damien's question on my end, there's 2 moments that really stick out. The first was that, and again, kudos to Carlos, was that first all women's show, May the Queen Reign, and his moment of having Mia Yim face Tessa Blanchard. Right. That moment, that Rock Hogan standstill face-off moment. My moment that night was like, holy shit, was the gauntlet match, and how like Carlo came up short, but everyone was rooting for her. And then the first WCW was, again, that Rock Hogan standoff with Tasha and Diamante. Like, that shit was surreal, and there's like, you dream about it happening, and then when it happens, it always happens bigger than you expect. And I was just like, I can't fucking believe this is what's going on.
I think for me, and Paul, you can chime in too, is just and I'm just a fan. I know Paul and I used to be just fans, and now, it's a little different from both of our perspectives. where we can see it from both sides of the guardrail almost, and be kind of taken aback by, holy shit, this isn't just wrestling. This is some life altering, I'm home type stuff. And, we always talk about, I talk about this with clients, longing, belonging, a place to be yourself and be welcomed. And I can say that you guys do that better than anybody else.
I appreciate that.
Dude, you're making me think about this now. So after that Diamante and Tasha match,
hold on. Before you chime in, Paul's over there in the corner. Jocay's all quiet.
Yeah, he's too quiet. Speak up.
Oh yeah, getting him off the hook. Yeah, go ahead, bud.
Háblame, dímelo.
What was your like? Oh shit, wrestling. This isn't just about wrestling. This is like a life type shit.
I mean, it probably wasn't at Battle Club though when I realized that. It probably happened when I first started at CZW.
What specifically? That was the just first you being there?
Just being there, yeah, because like I used to go to those shows just as a fan, and then next thing you know, here I am, ringside, just being yelled at by a bunch of people. I'm being yelled at by fans to like, put your phone away, fucking kneel down or whatever. But which was like the welcome that I got that.
Okay, how does that feel to be yelled at by the fans?
I mean, at first it was like nerve-wracking, bro, because when I first started there, this is when Sammy was booking the show, and I didn't know what to expect. He just told me, go outside, go ringside, film it, clip it, and post it or whatever. And I didn't realize you have hundreds of, and this is like when CCW was like the crowds are good, like better than now, and more rabid. So, these people just yelling at you, and like you don't realize, oh shit, like before the show, I'm looking around, there's nothing, it's just empty building, fine. Then you see there's hundreds of people there, and all just like wanting violent shit to happen, you know. And like at first, like when I first started, I was more awkward, like quiet, like everything, like my nerves were high. Now it's like I don't give a shit. Like I know what I'm here to do. I know like what's my purpose here, and,
I think once you've done Cage of Death or Tournament of Death, I think you have no fear at that point.
Probably.
Like, was your family worried for you being ringside for that?
They didn't know like what was going on that day. They didn't So here's the thing: my dad is a big wrestling fan, but he watches like W or TN, like that, the major stuff. He doesn't know about indies until I showed him what I filmed. And then once they saw the TOD footage, they were like, "Wait, what the fuck is this?" Like, you seen the hitting each other with glass and light tubes and shit, and they're like, "Wait, what is this? You were there for that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, whatever. It's your choice. You want to be there, fine. I'm not gonna tell you what to do." So
that's funny.
I just thought it was regular pro wrestling.
Oh, it's regular, all right. That's for sure.
All right. What were you gonna say, buddy?
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. So after the Diamante and Tasha match, I believe it was a break afterwards, and there was this weird awkwardness of nobody knowing what to do because everyone was so hyped up. People were just pacing back and forth. The energy was unlike anything ever. And I went outside for like a slight second, and all of this steam was coming out. I was like, I'm just gonna go back in. I'm gonna end up getting sick. But it was crazy. Like it felt like an old school West Coast versus East Coast with everybody repping sets, and no violence went down outside of the ring, but man, it just felt like any little thing could have just tipped the thing off at any moment. It is, again, it's probably one of my favorite moments of wrestling of all time, because just to be in there in the atmosphere was just unlike no other.
Hey, so
instead of East Coast, West Coast, US and Australia and the UK. It was like the Australia gave her to the U.S. Like that's what it was.
It's like
There
Street
were more
Fighter.
fans from overseas than there were. Yeah,
Yeah, it was wild.
was,
Some of those the ticket, like looking at who purchased the tickets and where they were coming from. I couldn't believe that. Oh, real quick, Harlow says hi. Hi,
Hi,
Harlow.
Harlow. So I remember I worked the door with Carlos and Melissa at that show, and just like the amount of fans that were like the walk up. I'm like, what? We still got people coming in? Like, holy shit! Like, this is awesome, you know. And realizing that it was the first show of Mania week. For me, it was just, yep, this is the place to be. And fall place is Brooklyn, like Brooklyn. Nice, you know, little hometown pride when you're thinking, nah, this ain't anywhere else but here. It's not in a ballroom. It's not in Hammerstein. It's in Brooklyn.
Yeah, man, I was overwhelmed with that. I was so proud, and it's one of my happiest moments because, like, you know, the same way I addressed the crowd at the British Strong Style show, like that's
too.
my dream was always just to bring wrestling to Brooklyn, and it's a fairly recent dream because it you know, I never thought I'd get into the business, and I still to this day thank Carlos because he brought me on board and he allowed me to, you know, take over. But yeah, man, just to know, like, that's an 8-minute walk from where the British Strong Style show was. The British Strong Style show was literally where I went to school.
Right.
You know, the shows that we've been having outdoors, that's where I work. That's the school I work in. So it's like to know that I'm able to bring something positive to the community. And yeah, it's not the same as when I was growing up. You know, it does suck. You know, gentrification does happen. You lose a little bit of that soul that these kind of neighborhoods do have. But for the most part, like these places do, they you know, they end up concentrating, and that soul doesn't necessarily leave. It's just not as spread out as it used to be. But like I'm able to bring that positivity, you know, with these just worldly talents. Like I provide the platform. I don't do anything but provide the platform. The talent, you know, the production staff, you know, the people who share, the fans. Like it's the biggest blessing ever.
Yeah.
Even though it's the most stressful. You know, Paul will tell you how stressed I get. Fucking Damien will tell you it's so stressful. But like once that moment hits, it's like this is why it's all worth it.
Yeah, I definitely was going to ask you earlier, Ed, about what percentage of the show completion do you actually are able to relax a little bit, because you do be on 150 a lot of the time.
I don't relax. I don't relax until the ring is back where it needs to be.
You know what? This is actually true. That's a true statement.
I don't relax until the ring goes back where it needs to go.
Oh my god.
I was quickly wondering really quick, and I'll throw it back to you, Damien.
Gotcha.
Who is your graphics guy? Who's behind the magic of putting all that together?
That is the wonderful Mark Kerr from Be Water Creative. He's the best. It sucks because he's in the UK, so like it's like I'll have one half of the conversation and then he'll answer when I'm sleeping or about to go to, like, you know, it's tough communication, but he's the genius. He's like, I'll have an idea and he just makes it happen.
Yeah.
Like it's so incredibly wonderful. Like it's like having Tony Damaso, who does our video, like having that guy with graphics. So like with Tony, it's like, hey Tony, I want this. Like, get this angle. I know this is gonna happen. Get that angle, and he gets it, and he's perfect. Like ever since I brought Tony on board, Title Match Wrestling has been just insanely happy with the footage because Tony is that good, you know. And I didn't have them for long, but I did have Tony and Zane at one point, and they were just off the charts. But yeah, Mark is just like I'll fucking throw words at him, and he just makes sense of it, and he puts it on paper, or he puts it in graphics, and it's exactly what I want.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Damien.
So my question was going to be to both of you regarding negotiations. With any talent, whenever money's involved, there's always some haggling. There's always a little bit of posturing. In both of your cases, have there been? I know I can pretty much assume that there is a few instances where you're just like, oh, what the fuck, man? But if you're willing to share, what are some that you're like, this one springs to mind in my top 3 of just pain in the ass negotiations that people wouldn't know when putting it together a wrestling show?
You want me to name a name?
Sure, be my guest.
So here's the wild thing. There is a name. I'm not going to say it. Paul knows exactly who it is. There's only one name who's ever given me a problem when it came to money. And they didn't, it wasn't a problem, it was just the wrong approach. They wanted everything at that moment instead of the way I typically do it, which is right before the show.
Right.
It was in a demanding sense. And, said individual vented. I allowed said individual to vent, reminded said individual that you were impossible to get in contact with. I don't understand how you're upset, but I hear you. Now realize that you don't call the shots here. Shot that individual a look like, yeah, relax. They got what they wanted. But honestly, other than that, I don't really have too many. I don't think other than that, I had any issues when it came to money. I don't know why, but I feel like most of the talent just kind of like we talk. If there's a back and forth, it's very little, and it's very like. If I ever ask to shave anything off, it's never an insane amount. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty like good about, hey, this is what you want. Okay, you got it. Like I try not to give. Harlow just texted me the answer. Yes. Yeah, I don't. I try not to haggle. I want you to feel welcomed. I don't want you to feel like I don't want you to come in and have a like, oh, this is fucking business and this is a problem. Like, if that's what you ask for, I'm going to give it to you for the most part. I'll never deny having to shave off a little here and there. But I know that once I fully took over, anyone who was a regular or a semi-regular will attest. Like, and these names I will name: Darius Carter, Anthony Bowens, Matt McIntosh, Tasha Steeles, the Diamond Dogs, the Ugly Ducklings. Like, I gave them raises once I knew I was in charge. And they're like, fuck? And I was like, no, yeah, you deserve it. Paul can vouch for me giving raises. So, like, for me, I'd rather you feel comfortable and know you are at least getting closer to what you're worth, because there's no way you can actually pay any of these incredible talents what they're actually worth.
Right.
Because, I mean, the things they do with their bodies is unbelievable. So, yeah, I have just one instance that was pretty bad, and I'm not gonna say it live. I'm not. It's not worth it, because since that moment there has been reconciliation and
progress. Good.
Right. And it was totally unexpected. I did not expect the niceness to come out of nowhere.
Paul, what about you?
So
he's about to bash
negotiating is not my fault. No, I don't negotiate with it because that's not my forte. I don't deal with it. That's all his. But there was one incident. I'm not gonna name who, but there was a wrestler who's maybe not even a year in. Not even a year in. But you know what I'm talking about, Joe. And so Joe was interested in using him. I'm cool with the guy, and I hit him up. I'm like, look, hey, what's your fee? And he gave me this ridiculous amount. I'm like, all right, I'll let him know. And once I told Joe, he was like, You just laugh. Like, that's not happening. Like the dude is a good wrestler, but to ask for anything like what a star would make, and you're not even a year trained in, that's. You know.
I'm gonna simplify it. You don't pay Tua Tagovailoa what you pay Tom Brady. You don't.
Damn, that makes too much sense. Oh my god.
I can't even imagine the type of.
But that's just very, very, very few and far between, dude. Like, I really feel, and again, like I guess it's just the positive reputation we have. Like, if I do try to negotiate with a wrestler, like they're sensible. I want to say that instance that Paul is talking about was the only time I stepped back and was an immediate no. Like, hell no, I'm not paying what? Excuse me? The fuck? Harlow just screamed at me, "Where's her raise?" And I need to remind Harlow, I've never spent any money on anyone else more than her. So
there's that. If she'd like to rebut, she can always jump on here.
Wait till we come back from the pandemic, Harlow.
I don't know, Harlow. You're doing a lot of texting. You could just have, join in if you want.
You could jump in, right?
Get in there, you know.
She's,
I mean, I admire her hustle. We all trying to make it out alive, and she's over here asking for a raise. So that's.
Hey,
she's asking for a raise, and she's not even working.
Hey, Harlow's in Atlanta. She knows how to get money. That's for sure. Atlanta, they got that hustler mentality down there. So she don't got to be working to be wanting to make more money. Can't wait to see her, man.
She snuggled up with her puppy and her boo thing. She'll be all right.
So I want to just share. I haven't shared this with Joakim or with Jocay yet. I was at a show down here a couple of months ago, and researching for the promotion, and I asked a couple of talents what their rates were, and I'll tell you off air, but one of them told me their rate, and I said, "For how many matches?"
I have to know what this is. I have to know
off air. But
how many matches?
No,
that's going to be my response.
Because they gave me a number, and I'm thinking, one match? Really? Okay. And I'm like, I'll report it back, but okay, thanks for telling me. But yeah, no, I damn near almost fell on my ass when I heard that number. And the reasons they were giving were just kind of, like even my therapist was, so what makes you think that's something you should ask for? Like, give me some proof here. And the thing they would just say, said individual was just high. I'm willing to bet they were just high. And a funny story from that British Strong Style in Brooklyn. I was working not too far from there, and I was walking to the venue for the show, and I remember two talents specifically that I'll say off air. They were walking toward one of the housing projects that I was passing by, and before they passed me, they stopped me and asked me where they could get some weed. And I'm like, actually, no, but I'm sure you can find someone randomly around here. And they wind up going in to one of the housing projects. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Because I saw them on hey, and I'm just like, yep, that's about right. That's about right.
Oh, shit, that's great.
That is such for me, a New York thing. It's like, yo, can you tell me where to get some weed? And like, dude, it's like $2.45. What the fuck? But that was one of those funny stories for me.
Staying along these lines of rates, I want to say that there's been one person, and I don't think any of you guys will guess it. There's been one person who's always been willing to fucking take next to nothing just in order to showcase his talents, and I've always been infinitely appreciative of it, even though I've only used him twice. That's Suge D. That's a guy who fucking has no fucking issues traveling the world just to wrestle. Like, I know, and he's probably the only guy, and I appreciate it because it allowed for me to maintain a certain number of my budget. He was like, dude, I just want to fucking wrestle for you. Like, just that, like, is incredible. I mean, and there's always those, like, along those same lines, Trevor Eon, Mr. Grimm.
Yep.
There's always those that are like, I just want to be on the show. But like with Suge, like, just doing the math, there's no way I should have been paying him what I paid him for to wrestle, and I did. And if he's watching, I don't know. Like, I'm infinitely thankful, and once this whole shit stops, like, I would love to make it up to you.
I've seen him a few times, and I've talked to Trevor about him also, and just that's definitely someone I want to see more of back home. Just in general, just from what I've heard nothing but good things. So
all I know is I'm gonna say it really quick, and I'm gonna tweet him while we're doing this at the same time. Check your DM, Suge. Check your DMs. The guy I interacted with him in person a few times in the past. What he does on social media, I'm a big fan of, as far as his messages, as far as his content. This story doesn't surprise me at all. It just really doesn't. But I definitely, somebody I absolutely want to get a chance to be able to talk to again in 2020, because I mean, obviously he's just been killing it overseas, and I would love to just hear more of his experience one-on-one. So yeah. Check your DMs.
And one more question I want to ask the both of you, and what I've realized about Battle Club, and we've talked about this here on the show, is the inclusivity that Battle Club has been a part of, and some would say the innovators of it. My question to you is, do you view yourselves as a promotion kind of like role models in that sense? Because not a lot of people were overly talking about inclusivity before you all started doing it. So how do you feel when people say you guys are kind of the role models, the pioneers of that?
Go ahead, Paul. Go first.
I don't even know, man. Like, you go ahead. Let me think about this real quick.
Always avoiding talking, bro. It's never been about making it a point to be inclusive. It's just who we are. It is like, I'm going to show the world, the wrestling fans, what I know. And what I know is strong brothers and sisters, brown, black, yellow, Spanish, African American, overseas, Asian American, just anything. I know sexual orientation is a lot more accepted now than it was before, but like, I don't make any bones about it. If you can fucking wrestle, I want to use you.
Right.
And who you decide to sleep with, how you decide to sleep with them, how you decide to view, how you decide to be viewed, how you decide to dress or carry yourself, that has no bearings on my decision. Like, it's what I know. It's what I've always known growing up. One of my legitimate heroes is a cousin of mine who is super flamboyant, a super flamboyant gay man he's busted his ass to become a lawyer for the city. And like, I love it. He's like, literally 1 minute he'll curse you out and be like, no, bitch, that doesn't work. Those shoes don't match that belt buckle. And then turn around, he's like, all right, I'm gonna change my brake pads and my oil. And it's like he can fluctuate between both. But that's all I've ever known. Strong sisters fucking having to work 2-3 jobs, hustle, raise their family, be there, cook dinners. Just in my household alone, I come from a lineage of some of the strongest women in the world. My recently deceased grandmother, she raised 4 kids by herself, and 2 of them were mentally handicapped.
Right.
And I would always have a conversation with her like, why are you not mad? Why are you not upset that this fucking sperm donor just kind of left you, and she's like, there's no point in wasting energy to be mad. I have to take care of the kids. Like, that's what I saw growing up.
Yeah.
And I promised her I would never do anything stupid. But, is this being recorded or is it only going to be live?
Both.
It's both.
Okay. So if any of my family members do get to see this, the day that motherfucker drops, I'm dancing on his grave if I don't get to put my hands on him first. You're a fucking coward. You left a woman who does not speak the language in a country she did not know and raised 4 kids by herself. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little hot right now. Fuck you. Fuck you. She's gone. She struggled. She's gone. And you're still fucking laughing it up. If anybody deserves to fucking catch this COVID shit, it's you.
Paul?
Yeah, honestly, like, when it comes to like Battle Club, the whole role model thing, I don't even know, because to me this is just trying to bring something good back to New York as a whole, like something like good wrestling, good, it's just an atmosphere. Again, it's a family atmosphere. It's a place where everyone is comfortable with each other. Yeah. But,
I'll say this really quick. The one thing that Battle Club does, and this may have already been touched up on, in other words, but out of my mouth I'll say it, is that that image that that image that you want to put out there, it doesn't have brands and titles and all that color to it. It's just what it is. It's just the norm. It's just to be a good person, be a good human. It doesn't exactly. It's just that. And it's weird too, because when I talk to Tasha, a lot of everything you're saying is exactly the sentiments that she has. And then it's the same sentiments that me and her relate to. I was born in the same era she was born in. And so we relate on that note. And it's just like that atmosphere of what you brought up in has just always been a norm to us, where it's just like, this is what it is. It doesn't have to have a name to it. You do intergender matches, you just do them. 2 people are wrestling. It's not a featured highlighted intergender match. It's not a woman's title. It's just a title. Anybody could have the icons. It's the things like that people don't pick up on. But now it's a thing. It's a trend. Because you realize that people realize I can market off of this and I can brand off of this. And it's like, if it's just wrestling, it's just wrestling. We want to talk equality, then it's just equality. That means it's derived from the word equal, which means you can't be equal plus that. It's just one certain thing. That's why it's called equal or equality, excuse me. So like that's the one thing I always like appreciate about Battle Club, because matches happen because they have to happen or they need to happen because the best qualified versus the best person here, whatever it may be. You challenge that person, you face that person. Doesn't have to be a feature. I truly appreciated that. I know that's like all over the place, but like nonetheless, that's just my sentiments as well with that. I super appreciate the fact that like it's just what it is.
Yeah, fucking Tasha's a shining example of exactly who it is we are, struggling, Brick City, coming up, having all these different things hold you back, and you still decided to shine through it. The same goes with Bowens, being that superstar athlete, being, someone who had to fight and for a while hide it. And when he made the decision to come out, like his smile changed, but that's what I know. Like it sucks for the reality that it is. All I know is good, hardworking people of color, people of different sexual orientations, people who've been discriminated against. All I know is them busting their ass and still having to go through these obstacles. That's what I know. So that's what I'm going to put out there. I had a conversation with Paul and Ariel and Nix at a rest stop, and it's just like, yeah, the easy thing to do is put on, and again, there's no offense to anybody when I say this. Yeah, the easy thing to do is to put a match together with, 10 to 20 guys with $1 million faces, $1 million physiques, who were all, fucking, yeah, they're working, they're busting their ass, but they're they don't come from the same place that I know. They come off as looking like the privileged people. It's that's the easy thing to do, and that's what most promotions do it. I'm not. There's no bullshitting about it. Like, you just look up and down the promotions from the east to the west coast. Like, there's so many promotions that are like, hey, here's 10 matches of literally the same kind of guy, and that's boring as fuck. That's not worth anything to me. That's not what I know. That's not what I want to project. It really is not. It's there's no flavor there. There's no spices.
That's a good word to use.
No authenticity.
There's no flavor. There's no authenticity. That's a great word. Like, I'm gonna showcase what the fuck I know, and what I know is people like Tasha Steeles, like Diamante, like Trisha Dora. Those people have worked to get where they're going. The C stars, like, that's what I know. So that's what I'm gonna put out there. I don't care who you sleep with. If you can wrestle, I'm gonna put you on. Yep. I do care what you look like, in the sense that I would prefer to have an association with you. And don't get me wrong, like, there's a bunch of talent that has struggled, that looks like $1 million, and that looks like they are privileged, but they're not. And I appreciate, like, Mick Drake's one of those guys that comes off, he looks like he belongs in the WWE. But Mick and I have a great relationship because we both understand the business. It's not just fucking, hey, I'm fucking, I'm trying not to say anyone specific, but I've got the $1 million look. I'm the perfect wrestler. Like, just put me on the show. It's like, no, what makes you different? Mick said no to the PC. How many people can say that? Mick said no to the PC. Fucking Richard Holiday was like, I'd rather sign with MLW right now so I can be as good as I need to be when I have the option to make the choice to jump to the next level. How many people can say that? Those are the kind of people that look like they should be on TV that I want to feature, because they're choosing to go about it a different way. There's something more there. It's not just salt and pepper. There's some paprika. There's some fucking allspice, some cumin. There's extra, man. There's more. There's sabor. Like the fucking Hispanics say. Give me that real shit. There's realness. There's grit. Like,
there's empanadas.
That's it. There's empanadas.
I do appreciate the fact that you're willing to work with so many diverse talents, and I wish more promotions did that down here. We have Lucha Brutal, and I know we have Sabotage Wrestling that incorporate a lot of wrestlers of color and different ethnicities and backgrounds. I want that to be the norm. Instead of us constantly saying, "Oh, we wish it would be more like this." How about it just is like this? And we don't have to keep shining a light on it every other month, or waiting until Black History Month or any other history month. And it's just like, can't we just all have people who are talented, hardworking, and want to improve? And that's it. Case closed.
The talent should be showcased.
Yes.
It shouldn't matter what they look like. It should be talent, and if anyone tries to misunderstand my words as like, oh, he won't put a white person over, like, that's not fucking true at all. It's just, I want something more than you just looking like you're the perfect wrestler. I want something more than that. Yeah. I want Harlow was the Icons champ for over a year.
Yeah.
First, she doesn't look like anybody else. I don't think she looks like anybody else. She doesn't carry herself like anybody else. When she did her production stuff, it was different than anyone else. Like, I'm not gonna not use you, but give me a reason to use you, and let me showcase that to everyone else. Like, I want that. Like, the Ducks are those are homers. Like, the Ugly Ducklings. Like, those three wacky, zany, fucking, crazy country white boys. Love them to death. Love them to death. They all get invitations to the cookout. Why? Because there's a realism to them.
Yeah, the perfect example for sure is Ugly Ducklings. I mean, the guys don't got that, like you said, that quote unquote look of what a wrestlers should be, but goddamn, are they the hardest workers? Every time I talk to them, I say, "Where did you guys come from?" Because y'all clearly they never come from home. It's always states and then destination. You know.
I got a theory about them. It's very similar to the Ninja Turtles theory, where they all were just kind of made from some kind of secret ooze.
Also, I know Mikey's upset that he cannot get his poop count up because he's stuck at home quarantine. You don't know what I'm talking about. Coach Mikey has an app where he puts a dot at every place that he's pooped at. So I know he's way behind his mark right now, but nonetheless. But I love those guys, professionals. And you know they do the drives, they damn sure do the work. and just they'll wait till every single fan is out of that building before they pack up and go, just for them to have to be somewhere in 5 hours that's 10 hours away and still make it on time. How they do it, I don't know.
they definitely have some technology that we're not aware of. I'm certain about that.
Duck teleportation.
It has to be. They've got Darkwing Duck tech or something.
Go ahead, Jocay.
No, go ahead. I was going to say the same thing.
So in regards to just away from wrestling, what are some things about you both individually that your personal lives kind of blend over and bleed into like the wrestling and vice versa? Like, how do you balance that? Do people kind of see you in real life and just kind of make commentary? Like, how do you balance that?
I mean, Paul's really quiet right now. That's what he is. But
I didn't get the question really.
Paul. So let me ask it. So you know how, like, on one hand, people at your school don't know what you really do on the weekends, and on the other hand, people on social media know what you do, and if they see you in public, how do you kind of balance out of wrestling you with wrestling you if the two shall meet?
No, people at my job actually do know that I work in wrestling.
Okay,
good. What I do,
they
don't, but they do know what I do, so it's like, it's whatever. I don't really got any issues with that. So,
what about you, Jocay?
So, to answer for Paul to make it easier, Paul is who he is. Like, there's no changing. There's not. I'm the same way. Before the whole lockdown happened, like at where the school I work, there'd always be assemblies. There's assemblies every Friday. My favorite part of assembly is when they decide to give the crisis team a mic, because I grab the mic and I'm like, you guys gave me a mic. and I don't hold my tongue. I am who I am. Like, I've literally gone into legit DOE meetings. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna fucking sugarcoat it. I've walked into professional DOE meetings with hundreds of teachers and staff members. I'm like, all right, let's get this fucking show on the road. Or I'm here to fuck shit up. Like, and the principal just looks at me, and I love her for it. She's like, all right, well, that's Joe. Like, I'm the same guy. And there's people who are like, I'm blunt. Whether you like what I say or not is on you. Like, I've found a nice way to say what it is I need to say.
Right.
It's not beating around the bush. I can get to the point, but I can do it appropriately. And I've had to learn that skill with, working with high school kids. But I am the same. I'm the same guy. I am. If someone sees me out in the street and they're like, hey, it's usually wrestling shows. I don't do really much outside of wrestling shows. It happened to me one or two times, but I'm the same guy. Like, when I get in that ring and I make that address, I would say the only thing that changed was that, like, over time I have had to do more physical work, so I haven't had the chance to dress up. When Carlos was helping, it was easy to dress up and be like, hey, look at me, I'm pretty. I'm making an address.
By the way, I think he chimed in and asked when's the next show coming to the Bronx.
Yeah, tell that motherfucker to find me a venue. I've been trying.
Make sure the muscle
It's-
No,
raccoon's
we
there.
legit.
It's like the it's
even
like
the
the
building next to my crib.
right. It's like the fucking DMV. Like
Yeah.
Carlos is like, when are we coming? When you going back to the Bronx? You're the fucking you're the branch I need to go to. You're talking about I filled out the wrong form. Like, help me, help me.
Oh man.
That's funny.
So I'll ask my kind of wrapped up question is I know we're kind of in this really, this big what if, maybe, purgatory, who knows, to be determined period and state of the world and everything, but that doesn't stop the gears from turning in you guys' head. What can we expect, as we should say, towards the end of 2020 for Battle Club? And you guys, what else are you brainstorming or plotting on that you are or can possibly share?
So before somebody ate a bat, I really wanted to do 6 shows this year.
So I hate it bad. Like,
yeah.
Took me a second. I'm like, wait, what? Oh.
No, I was really hoping to put out more content this year, more actual wrestling shows. We have we have all our champions. C-Star's the tag champs, Tasha's the Icons champ 2 times, and Bowens is the franchise champ. I really wanted to do many more shows this year, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Once things clear up, I'm gonna refocus on that. More shows, getting back to the Bronx. Carlos, you motherfucker. he's over here talking about when are we gonna go back to the Bronx? Meanwhile, he's starting a small army. Like, he's multiplying. Like, I was half expecting him to say, I'm expecting the 5th child. And I'm like, your wife's still pregnant with the 3rd. What are you talking about?
It's gonna have a son 5. He keeps this up.
Yeah, seriously. Getting back to the Bronx. Nigel, he'll tell you straight up. Like, I've inquired about running in Maryland. Damien, I've talked to Telly about running in Texas. I want to do more. I do want to do more. Last year was I thought it was a great year, even though we only had 3 shows, and that was because of the situation I was in financially with what happened the year prior in Innovative.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to do more. I want to do different. I want to keep trying to find ways to be inventive and change things up. It's hard. Like, right now, the whole goal is to continue to create content, but how many platforms can you have? You like Nigeria said, you get the wheels turning, but like, you're so limited right now because of the way the world is. And there are infinitely more important things than pro wrestling. Wrestling will be there. Everyone's going through their hard times, but I can tell you straight up, like, there was a moment in time after I did lose my grandmother where I didn't feel like doing anything. And it's kind of good that we're in this situation now, because I don't have to worry about that. But I know, like, this conversation, I want to thank you guys so much, because, like, that it kind of sparked like, hey, there's that fire. And before this conversation, and watching that WrestleMania, I told Paul this, and I'm going to throw it out there, and hopefully it gets into the ether and they make it happen. I think Sami Zayn should be a top guy. I think Sami Zayn's the best heel on the WWE roster right now. I think that no one understands what it is he's doing. Rob Killjoy, who I talk to every day, he's probably the only wrestler I talk to every day. We had this conversation. He's the best. He's the best heel right now. The Great Liberator gimmick is unbelievable. For those people who are not on world events, he's Fidel fucking Castro.
Yeah.
And how perfect is it that William Wallace, aka Drew McIntyre, just destroyed the tyranny of Brock Lesnar over that WWE Championship? You have Fidel Castro steal Money in the Bank, then dethrone William Wallace and literally say, you guys are all in quarantine, but I have liberated you by becoming the WWE Champion. He can talk. the way he fed Daniel Bryan in that match, it was like an 8-minute match.
Yeah.
It was almost Flair-like. Like I couldn't believe what I was cool. Like I watched WrestleMania, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I thought what they did with everything they did was great. But that match specifically, I'm like, I was glued to it. I was like, holy shit, man, this dude is incredible, and all he's doing is making Daniel look like $1 billion. So like seeing that sparked it got those wheels turning again. Like it kind of got me out that morning state. And then this conversation, got you guys reminiscing and saying your favorite parts of Battle Club. Like I'm starting to feel it again, and I really do. I infinitely appreciate it. And once all this shit is over, man, I want to rock and roll like never before.
Yeah, it's in our regards to Battle Club. We've been plotting on what we can do to kind of get some creative going. But also my message to you is that, even with the passing of your grandma, although she's gone, the legacy is instilled in you, and that is shown in everything that you do each and every day. So that fire under your ass, continue to keep it lit, because like, again, just like the lesson earlier with the guy, what you do and what you give off is what we receive and what we pass on. It's that ongoing thing that you don't even realize that the one thing your grandma doing is all being influenced all through us, even just by your booking and people you bringing in, little things like that, giving people chances that didn't have a chance. As you said, she didn't have a chance. Look at the obstacle that she was presented, and look what she was able to produce. Like how many people that never had a chance at a booking, they came in your doors and went to go on to collect either bigger purses, or can ask for more, or just ultimately just got better. So it's that mentality, that is why like people like you, we need, and I'm emphasizing the word need, because it's the positivity that we need out here in the world nowadays.
Thank you.
No doubt, bro. And as always, like I said before, the doors, the seats for you guys is always open. So y'all want to go in here and bullshit about nothing for 2 hours, 3 hours, we'll do the damn thing.
We could talk about best chopped cheeses in New York City.
Bro, hold on, wait, you just opened a can of fucking worms. My dude. Oh my motherfucking god, bro. I was in Williamsburg. In Williamsburg, and I went to this local bodega. It was right there. I just finished after school. I was gonna head home, but I was like fucking hungry. See a corner store. All right, you don't know if it's a bodega till you walk in. You walk in and you hear the Spanish music, it's a bodega. If you walk in and you hear anything else, it's Ak. Right.
Noted.
So it's Ak, Habibi. And I'm like, yo, give me a chopped cheese. This motherfucker, first of all, he charged me like $7. I was
like, chopped cheese?
Right. I was like, what the fuck? Yo, I opened it. And it's like he put a half of a burger patty in a whole hero. I was like, what the fuck is this? What in the fuck? I went back, I'm like, bro, what's this? You asked for chopped cheese. Where's the rest of it? He's like, that's how we always make it. And I was like, you charged me $7 for this, bro. Yo, I've never been back to that store. I will never go back to that store. I can't, how? But you know what? This is some of the parts that suck about gentrification. It's true. It is absolutely true. This is the parts that suck. Like, chopped cheese prices are going up and you're getting less. Fucking Whole Foods sells a chopped cheese. First of all, it's a half sub, which isn't a thing in New York. It's a half sub. It's $8.50.
What?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Nah. Nope. See, that reminds me, like when I go to New York and let's say getting a haircut in the hood or whatever, it's still charged by $12 to $14, and there's like haircut spots here where I live, $40 for a regular old haircut. I'm like, nah, dog, nah. Yeah, I see the line, bro. I see the line.
Hold on, but here's the thing. I did it myself.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I got little skills.
That's the necessity of like having to do it yourself whenever the haircuts get to like $30 a pop. It's like, nah, come on, man, really?
Right.
you know, but chopped cheese for like $7.50 or $8.50. That's just ridiculous.
Ridiculous, bro. Oh my. Yo, I had an
That's too
argument. This motherfucker. I told Paul. He was the first person I hit up. This motherfucker tried to charge me $18 for a 6-pack.
What?
I looked him in the eyes. I
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
"Homie, I don't need a drink. I want a drink. You bugging the fuck out. You think because I will never because yo, I was like, you think I'm fucking like everybody else because I'm light skinned. You bugging the fuck out, homie." And I walked right out. I left the 6-pack right there. Get the fuck out of here. $18 for a 6-pack? The fuck is he gonna do my taxes too? Wildin', son.
That's what my father says. Oh god. Was this a corner store?
This was a corner store I don't normally go to because I was looking for a specific 6-pack and they had it, but fuck that.
Najee, do they got chopped cheese in DC?
No.
Oh,
I mean, and even if there was something similar to it, it's not going to be authentic. But there's no spots for it. So, but that does spark an interest. I know somebody's going to be in my DMs like, yeah, we do. Nothing notable because no one's ever said like this is the spot. So, but that shit just made me dumbass hungry.
Yo, I'm starving right now. What'd you say, Paul?
From our experience in DC, I think seafood spots, and that's pretty much it. From like the few times that we went to CTBW.
Yeah,
that's
it. I definitely can get you some spots for sure. The last prime time I was sick, so I didn't make it out. But yeah, I definitely could take you to some legit DC spots. But I don't know. Somebody's probably gonna jump in my messages about this as well too. So like, yeah, Maryland is known for seafood, and sure, I guess DC can kind of like swagger jack off that a little bit. But to be honest, like DC ain't really they don't have no specialized food. They got good spots, but there's no one particular thing that you like. I got and get in DC. Besides, obviously mumbo sauce, which is now a international thing because the guy sold the rights to all these major things and cashed out. So there's that. So other than that, it's nothing you have to go to DC for, like other places in New York and Philly and Chicago and stuff like that. You just got a good blend. It's a good mixing bowl for a lot of different foods. I that's what I'll say.
Okay.
So.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask the two of you: eggs and peanut butter, yes or no?
You've been in fucking Texas way too long, bro.
No, that came from Savage Jet though. Like Savage Jet was the one that put us onto it.
That's Savage Jet and Lady Frost thing. Yeah, they were on the show last week. Yeah, that's a no for me, big dog.
Yeah,
was that, Paul?
You're losing your New York card with
that. Yeah.
You got,
first off,
your New York card got revoked.
I wish I had my New York license back. Trust me. But no, the reason why I asked is because Savage Jet and Lady Frost, they kind of were doing that for a bit, and I decided, you know what, let me give it a shot. And not to be funny, but I wouldn't have it every day. But once in a blue moon, hard-boiled egg or like a over hard egg, you can put some peanut butter on that joint. Tastes good.
That's wild. I know when I worked in housing, the truck driver at the time, he was from, I don't remember where in the South, but you can tell he's from the South. He had one of those accents. He sounded like a nerdy Trev, so you can have an idea. And he was like, "Man, I put jelly on my bacon, egg, and cheese," and I did try it. I tried it.
I've heard
it's not a New York thing.
Mm-hmm.
It tastes like a McGriddle. It does. It does. It's not something I would do every day, but I'm also not. See, I think ketchup can be overpowering, so I don't tend to put ketchup on my bacon, egg, and cheese all the time. I'd rather taste the bacon because I'm a fat guy. I like to ask for extra bacon.
Right.
I'm a professional fat boy, so I'll ask for extra bacon. But like the jelly, it's what the fuck? You'll hear that, but it's not bad. Like I tried to tell Paul, like I did it, and he was like, "Nah, fuck out of here, son." I was like, "You can't knock it till you try it." Like I would.
You're gonna get me to it.
No.
Nah.
I would
get me to do it.
I would. Well, yeah. Well, but I'm sure if she bought it for you, you would try it out of respect. Not even if she spent her hard-earned money. Wow.
You know,
take that shit.
You guys talk shit about the Bronx. You know we got no respect out here.
Yeah, that's true. The motherfuckers you're giving tigers the coronavirus. How the fuck?
Don't even
I
get me
want to know
started
how
on
the tiger
tigers,
got a
dude.
test before.
No, I'm sorry. There was a fucking, and I shared this with a bunch of people from the Bronx the other day. There was a meme going around where the Bronx had the lowest number of corona cases, and they were like, I don't want to hear y'all talk shit about the Bronx being dirty anymore. And then a couple weeks later, fucking animals in the Bronx Zoo have the coronavirus. How, Sway?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
How?
Definitely was wondering how there was like they say there wasn't a lot of enough tests to go around, but all of a sudden somebody went in there and tested. Yeah.
It's Carol Baskin.
It's so crazy how tigers have been so relevant over the last 3 weeks out of nowhere.
Nobody cared about tigers up until 3 weeks ago. Not everybody gives a shit about tigers.
Yeah. But Rob Killjoy told me about it, and I watched it, and the first thing I said to him was, "This is fucking pro wrestling."
Yeah.
This is pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is the
car. The man also worked pro wrestling.
He did. They ended up saying, revealing it a little while later. The shit is like, that's the carny shit that, like, that's my personal mission, is to get that to change. Mm-hmm. That carny culture, like, that is my goal. Like, I want, when it's all said and done, whether I'm blessed to go bigger and have better things, or whether I stay at this level, like, my goal is so that promoters are more in line with what I do, and hopefully they all end up being better. But it's like that. I want that whole carny shit to just be thrown out. Like, I don't want workers to go to a show and they're scared if they're going to get paid, whether the crowd, the house is big or not. They have a fear if you're a female. Oh, the promoter's going to try to feel up on me, and like, that shit doesn't happen at Battle Club. And if there is anything that I want to spread and to be the same at all these other places, is that you should be able to go to a show to work as a fan, as a wrestler, as a worker, staff, production, whatever the case may be. You should be able to go to a show and never feel like you're going to be violated in any way, shape, or form. That is my personal mission. That is the reason why I ended up having, the kind of friendship that I did with Big Swole. Like, she was one of the few people that I actually got to hang out with during Mania Week last week. And it's because we had that kinship, because I want to get the carny out of fucking wrestling. Right. I want the carny needs to get out of wrestling. This business is beautiful, and the moment that it's taken more seriously and treated like the professional, the professional the professional franchise that it is, the league that it is, whatever, the sports conglomerate, whatever word you want to use. The moment people in the business start doing that as promoters, and then it branches off to workers and other promoters and fans. Like, once it's all taken, once that carny shit is all out, like, then it be taken more seriously. Then people won't go, oh, you go to indie shows? No, that'll stop. Then it goes, oh, what indie show do you go to?
You're right.
Like, after this quarantine, everything is gonna have a boom. Everything. After this shit is done and gone, there be, no one's gonna take anything for granted. Shows will sell out. Everyone will be more appreciative of what's going on. On the back end of that, professional wrestling needs to be professional, and that carny shit needs to leave.
Couldn't say it better myself.
Absolutely agree.
Any last bits of information y'all want to put out there, Paul, Joakim?
Paul, come on, talk to your 700,000 followers on Twitter, bro.
Can we talk about the fact that he swears he doesn't have fans?
He don't have fans, but everything he puts out goes viral. Come on.
Nah. I mean, as of right now, there's nothing much going on. Just hoping this whole thing dies out, and once everything goes back to normal, just continue to do what I do. Just try to help out as many companies, talent, get them over. Because at the end of the day, it's like, I want everyone to succeed. I want everyone to eat, you know. So here's hoping all that goes back to normal. And yeah.
Yeah, let me bring my
So
mic
that's it
closer.
right now. I got nothing, man.
Let me bring my mic closer for this one real quick.
Oh, we're gonna do one of those moments. Okay.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
When everything goes back to running, book this guy. Because he's a goddamn professional. He does some good ass work, and as you can see right now, humble as day. So book this guy, slide them DMs, and get some good quality digital media right at your fingertips. Immediately post it, getting viral, get that publicity that your promotion may need, and so on. Like, for real. All right.
Jocay 19 on all social media platforms.
And just to piggyback off that, it's a package deal. Wherever he goes, I go.
That's true. That's true.
It's true. It's true. Like I tell everyone, like we're married. we're road wives to each other. It's true. Like we are, bro. We do the drives together. It's my brother, man. That's my fucking brother.
I'm gonna need you guys to slide slide that phone, put it on the dashboard. I'm gonna need one of those ride along videos, man. I know y'all be fed up. Hey, look, and I needed, if you don't want to record the whole time, I needed to start immediately when the first person says they need to use the bathroom. From that point on is when I need to hear all the conversations afterwards. There's moments like, should we keep driving or should we stop?
We have never taken a bathroom break.
I knew it.
We have never. I've literally driven him 4 hours to Delaware, no bathroom break. We just get it. We just get it done. We try to be like the ugly ducklings. We just get it done.
Just teleport. There you go.
The only reason you would stop somewhere is a Wawa stop.
I was gonna ask.
That's about
the
it.
Wawa spot.
That's it.
Wawa. Just to get some food, and even then, it's like, all right, we out. We gotta go.
You got 30 seconds. Eat, pee, and go. Here you go.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Go. That's it. Let's go.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
So let me just say this from a person who has been around you guys for a few years. Just, I'm proud of both of you. I was telling this to Haggerty the other day in an email. I was saying, I never put myself over, but I can honestly say I'm glad to put you both over to anyone I talk to. Down here, anywhere I visit, I always bring up both your names. I drop both your social medias, and just the growth of both of you from when I first met you all. Shit, at this point it's about 3 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago, to now. I'm just like, I'm a proud uncle of all this shit, you know, because I'm older than all y'all. So like, I'm a proud uncle to be like,
deal,
family, bro. Yeah.
That age shit.
David was at the show. He was at that show that I got hired at.
I know. I think I was backstage when that happened. Uh-huh.
No, you were walking around with
Trina, right? Yeah.
That's when I ended up having the meeting with like DJ and a couple other people. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, I got hired.
Right. Yeah, because I
literally
remember,
we met up earlier that day.
Uh-huh. I remember the conversation we were having, and then all of a sudden David Starr's dad popped in the conversation.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. We're like, oh, sorry.
I think you guys started showing up earlier for WSU, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I met you eventually like around there. And yeah.
And I can attest to just the old CZW fan base. Like, that motherfuckers is crazy. Like legit. And I'm like, yo, am I gonna have to start fighting people down here? Like, for real? Like, come on, man.
So, a few months prior, I think it was October, November.
Mm-hmm.
I think the show was Tango Island. One of the photographers that I knew who worked there at the time, when I met them that day, they were like, I met them at the merch tables, and they look at me and they tell me, yo, just look around you real quick. Look around you. And I'm like, okay. But they're like, notice how 80% of these people look like they committed a hate crime. And I was like, what? That should give you an idea of how rowdy like some of those people were, even though they looked like it, but like it wasn't like that bad. But they gave that impression. I'm like, oh shit. So my first night working there, I'm looking at this people who look like they want to kill me, even though they don't look like it. And it was just like that's just the first thought I had in my head. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna die for fucking pulling on my like, like that's a fucked up way to introduce someone to something. Yeah, they look like they'll kill you, but don't worry, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. You could. Like, what? Don't tell me that. But yeah, I am proud of both of you, and I'm just grateful to know both of you and to see all the good work you do, and you're even better people, and I can attest to that. Like you two are two of the good eggs, man, and
Thank you.
no matter how far away I am, y'all need me, call me, no matter what.
Same.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Just on my end, man, I tell Paul all the time, like he's humble as fuck, but I tell him like you did something no one has done. I'm not being an asshole. It's fucking true.
No, the comment. Gino got okay.
I didn't even know.
Okay.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. This fucking guy. This fucking guy here. This fucking guy. But no, I tell Paul all the time. Wrestling is, it recycles everything. It's cyclical. Like, it's always changing, but at the same time, it's always the same. And he was able to do something that's never been done. He got gifts over. Like, he did that. It was him. He's the man. He might not have the most followers, but he's the one that started doing that shit ringside. Like, that motherfucker changed the game. Changed the game for a lot of fucking wrestlers. And, like 100 years from now, I just hope that when anyone looks back in history, they recognize his name as being the pioneer.
Yeah, it's genius because I'm not for my generation. I'll say we went from books to readily available content and internet, extensive amount of content, and then things started getting smaller and smaller. Then things like Vine came out, and then once Vine came out, people realized that you can grab people's attention just like that and just be tuning in. Vine made stars, and the fact that this was a mechanism to get people exposure that you've never seen, or you may have heard of, but you never seen, but to get a short little burst of what they can do and where it was at, it worked for everybody. And like you said, it went from a person doing it and it monumentally blowing up to everyone's like, holy hell, this is catching on. This is working. Like it's genius to use it in that manner is absolutely genius. I definitely hats off to what it's done for me, because easily I look at it and it just be like, I may not have seen the match, but I seen something that was important to me that makes me want to go see the match. Oh, what was that promotion? All that in that minute of a second.
The amount of conversations I've had with other wrestlers saying, "Hey, I saw you on one of Jocay's clips," is hilarious.
Big facts.
That is something that I'm sure a lot of people are going to start saying a lot of now. Like, oh, I know you from Jocay, and it's like, yep, that's all you, bro.
I will say this too, and if it ain't coming from here, if it's not coming from your page, then it's almost not authentic. Where it's like it has to be from there in order for me to be a reputable footage. That's literally the demeanor around it. I swear to God, people will back that up 100 miles away easily. So the hard work is definitely notable. The checks are being cashed, so you know
what it is. It's like you walk into a party and you got a fresh fit, and you got them just dropped like retro 16s, and that's Paul's gifts. And like somebody else comes in and they look good, but they got like the Jordans that like the Mellow brand Jordans or the Jumpman. Right, it's Jordans, but it ain't the same. It ain't the same, you know what I'm
saying? Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I just want to thank both of you for being on the show tonight. We'll talk briefly off air about some funny stories. Oh, yeah. But I'm hoping this is all over by July 4th to attend the July 4th show. If it's still happening, knock on everything.
So, I mean, for New York right now, they're saying don't expect anything until the end of May. If that is true, then it's possible. But I also don't know, because the show was supposed to be done in conjunction with Jobberteers. I don't know where they stand financially. So it's just kind of a waiting game right now. But again, if Jobber Slam has to be postponed, it'll just happen at a later date.
Okay. Well, hopefully the Rona gets put under control and we can go back
out of here.
semblance of normalcy, man. But thank you for coming on the show. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all coming on, and talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Love y'all.